number 1 in defensive rebound percentage. The effort and the fight is there, and they'll bring it here tonight against Eastern Washington, who owns the first possession.
NAU, it looks like in man-to-man to start off with. Interesting matchup with Cone at 5'11", guarding the 6'7" Steel Venters.
Venters not shy early, but misses on his first shot attempt. Jalen Cone, the man you talked about there in the pregame, to run this first possession for the Lumberjacks of Northern Arizona.
Jalen Cone's coming off a 35-point game in their loss to Idaho, where he also had 9 rebounds and 2 assists. I mean, this kid can really create some offense.
Maines with the fadeaway to get the party started. It's 2-0 Northern Arizona.
Nick Maines has been around a long time. He started all 31 games this year. He has 5 games of 20 or more. He's got size, and he can really shoot it from the perimeter.
Out of bounds off the hands of Ethan Price. The offense of Eastern Washington is 3rd, but they're 7th when it comes to taking care of the ball, Coach. On the defensive side, they're not necessarily great. They're 8th in turnover percentage, but they are 3rd in three-point defense and 3rd in block percentage. This is a team that can be tough when it gets into the paint and does a great job guarding the perimeter. Loose ball out of bounds now off of Northern Arizona. So each team now with a turnover here on these back-to-back possessions.
Well, Eastern Washington is an interesting study. They won this tournament last year, went on to play Kansas in the first round of the NCAA, and they had everyone back, but everyone left. Their coach left, their starting 5 left, their top couple of subs left. David Riley has done a great job of building this team back via the transfer portal, with the exception of a guy like Steel Venters and Ellis Magnuson. But when he took the job and everyone left, I thought that poor guy, he got the opportunity of a lifetime. And, boy, the cabinet was completely bare, so to speak.
We've seen it earlier today with the previous 2 games, and now here Eastern Washington with a couple of clunky offensive possessions. How tough can it be to find your offensive rhythm early and often?
Well, I think there's a little bit of excitement about playing in a tournament here in a little bit, and I think it takes about everyone a little while to kind of settle in and get going offensively.
We know that Portland State, who created a lot of takeaways in the game against Idaho State, that was their forte. But some of the turnovers you're seeing here in the early moments of this one, just coming from being a little bit out of sync here in the early going, as Northern Arizona has the 2-0 lead over Eastern Washington.
Northern Arizona, I spoke of their challenges offensively. They're coming off a game in their loss to Idaho where they only shot 39% and 21% from the three-point line.
A loose ball and a jump ball, and possession will go to NAU. How nervous was that first game as a coach in the tournament? Because there's just so many variables. This is a hockey arena, so the depth and shooting perception, things like that. I mean, just all the factors that come into it.
Wow, Cone, what a great looking jump shot. It's the first time I've been able to see him play this year in person. That was, well, he stopped on the dime and jumped about 3 feet in the air and let that jump shot go down. I can see why he is a prolific scorer now after just watching one shot.
Jay Green to the free throw line. Hits on the first. When it comes to free throw percentage, NAU is at just 67.6%. That is 10th out of 11 teams in the Big Sky Conference. But they start with a 2-for-2 trip here.
NAU won their first game in this tournament last year as a lower seed, beating the team we just saw, Portland State, 77-66, and then lost to Eastern Washington before Eastern Washington went on to win the tournament. So they've experienced a little bit of success here in the Big Sky tournament.
Ferguson fouled here by Heyman as he was on the drive. 4-0 early on. It's always interesting in those first few minutes to see how it's going to be called. That was not a foul last game.
No.
But is a foul here today, and the players have to try to sense that out in the first 5 minutes. Price handing off to Bergerson. Right down the alley, but no good on the layup attempt as Allegri, and an offensive foul.
And a nice job by Nick Maines getting over there. The fourth year junior. As I said, Maines has been around for quite a while. Nice defense by Nick.
Turn to the corner, Tout. A tough layup, and he gets it. Northern Arizona playing with some force, some physicality, and some toughness here in the early going.
You know, when you're Northern Arizona's situation, and again, they're an interesting study. 8 games ago, they went over and beat Montana at Montana. And then 2 nights later, lost by 2 at the team that won the regular season, Montana State. Both those games on the road, and I thought, wow, they're really going to get going, and they haven't won since then. They've lost 7 in a row. They seem to play everyone tough, but just can't seem to get over the hump.
How hard was it when you have a losing team like that to stay away from the losing plays and the losing habits that put your team into a streak?
Well, for seeing one that can handle that, I think it's Shane Bricard. I think, again, he is a man of very high principle, and you're going to do it the right way or you're not going to be on the court, and he was just dealt a very tough hand there as his leading scorer, a kid who's trying to set the all-time single scoring record. Jalen Cone now has 2 fouls on him.
Last game, bumps weren't fouls. Today, they absolutely are. That is the 3rd team foul.
And that's a great point, Tony. The first 2 games, they were pretty rough and tumble, which was good. They let them play. Boy, they've called them really, really close here. And I think both Cone's fouls would not have been fouls in the previous 2 games.
With that said, they have been consistent, but even with consistency, how much does the style of a way a game is officiated affect what takes place?
Well, you've got to adapt both as a coach and as a player, and then you just want consistency.
Cleese is flat off the iron with that shot. The loose ball is going to be tapped, and it's going to be collected by Eastern Washington. The floater is up, and it's no good from Allegri. They can't get one to go down. 6-0 Northern Arizona. Heyman finds a crack, floats one from 5, no. Rebound Price, and he has to try and throw it to a teammate, and it's saved in, but it goes to Tout. A hard drive, and Heyman earns a trip to the free throw line.
Heyman
through the first impact here.
Well, he's their leading scorer, one of the leading scorers in the league, just at a little bit under 19. These 2 teams just played 6 days ago with Eastern Washington winning, but Heyman had his career high on March 3rd at 24.
Venters with a 3, and Eastern Washington on the board.
And that steal, Venters is 6'7". He can really get it off. He's got a quick release, and he did a great job of reading that screen. His guy went under. He faded or stepped backwards to create some space there, and one of the best catch-and-shoot guys in the league.
Heyman not shy today. Just misses that one. Loose ball rebounds knocked out of bounds. It'll go to Eastern Washington. If there's a loose ball, Ethan Price is in the neighborhood every single time. What a great story he's been this year.
The freshman of the year from England, one of 9 Englishmen in the Big Sky Conference.
Did you ever recruit in the UK?
No,
in your years that you were
I
coaching?
drank a lot of beer in the UK over the years. I've been
Did
there.
you just say that you were recruiting? Did you
No.
say you were on a recruiting trip?
I actually took Weber State my first year of coaching on a trip to Ireland and England, and we spent a few days in London and played a game there.
Did you show up to the game?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
But it's probably a legit question.
Allegri, catch and shoot 3 in rhythm.
Nice pass by Bergeson. Bergeson, the biggest point guard in the league at 6'6", 215, has had a great year. He leads in conference plays, first in assists, first in assist-turnover ratio.
Loose ball is going to be collected here by Heyman. Now, after a couple of three-point buckets, Eastern Washington on a 6-0 run. Here's a right side 3 up and no good from Maines. Here comes Heyman skying in. Can't get it. Tough contest at the rim by Price. Here come the Eagles, a 6-0 run.
And that's what you do if you're 6'10", 230. You get between the driver and the rim. Nothing spectacular about post defense.
Maines splits defenders, leaves it off, and it's stolen. Here comes Allegri. It's teed up for Eccles. And he gets the bounce.
Oh, you talk about a shooter's roll. That hung up there forever and a day. I went out and got a hot dog and came back after that when that went in. Man, that hung up there for a long time.
Last 3 buckets have been threes here for Eastern Washington. There are only 3 buckets. A straightaway jumper is no good, and Lewis was hit in the face, no call. Here's a nice rhythm 3 for Venters. Eastern Washington defense. Cone is in the game, even though in foul trouble.
Well, I think that's a good move by Coach Bakar. You don't want to get so far in the hole, it doesn't matter. The game's over with before he gets back in the game, so to speak.
Because then essentially he has fouled out, right?
Yes.
Lewis whips a pass to the right angle. A 3 is up and no good from Maines. 12-0 run for the Eagles. And now a big steal. Maines able to collect it. Now gives it off. Cone tries to dump underneath, and a steal now from Eastern Washington. Venters doesn't have numbers. Now he's going to take it against Maines and get called for an offensive foul. It doesn't take much for the whistle to blow here today.
Now, Venters is not a great driver. He's okay, but he weighs 175 pounds. He's about 20 pounds away from being a lot better player.
And how about Magnuson this year as he checks in? This was really the only returning rotational player for this team. This is the defending conference champions, but they don't look like it.
No.
A lot of the names have changed.
Well, Venters played very little on that team. Magnuson started almost every game last year.
Cone with a beautiful jump shot. The way he glides in the air.
He does, very explosive. The way he gets up on that jump shot, and he's got a great release at the top of it.
He doesn't quite have Coach Craven's hops, but he gets up there.
Well, he's not from Indiana.
Ah!
Well, he does shoot it nice, though, and he is really explosive. Look at that.
Cone slicing through. Stark, they'll go left side now to Heyman. Heyman a jumper, no.
Heyman, 14 his last game, 24 the game before that, but having a little trouble making it go in here this afternoon.
Magnuson, who was a standout wide receiver in high school, chose to play basketball at the college level, but certainly could have had his chance to play football at the next level. Left corner 3 is up and no good from Eccles, but Eastern Washington collects the board. They seem to get to all the loose balls now. Here comes Eccles to the paint. Good short one, no good. Finds it and puts it back in.
Eccles has had an outstanding year for the Eagles. Second team all-conference, averaging 16 and 7 rebounds, and he's a guy that just does a little bit of everything. He's a tough guy to match up against. He's 6'6", 235. Very good in the low block, but as we have already seen, he can stretch it and hit a 3, too.
And
more up your talent level, so to speak, than it used to be, but it has been outstanding year from top to bottom in Big Sky Conference.
Cone is unable to hit the free throw. Does have 4 points. Is in some foul trouble, and they're pushing the envelope with that obviously being an elimination game today.
Cone playing with 2 fouls on Magnuson.
Ethan Price lost the handle and a steal as here comes Cone.
And Cone is just a jet. As I said, this is the first time I've seen him in person, and seeing him on TV, you get no real feel for how athletic that kid is. Gosh, is he explosive.
Maines, a turnaround fadeaway. It hits nothing but glass. A nice save in by Price. Up the sideline now to Magnuson. Bergeson thought about a pull-up 3, didn't take it. And now Magnuson will drive hard the baseline.
Great ball movement by the Eagles. The Eagles now playing with 2 point guards on the court, Bergeson and Magnuson, which I think is a good lineup for them. I think the more guys you have on the floor that can make a play off the dribble, the more chance you have to create offense.
Bergeson came up empty on the fadeaway. They'll have just 8 seconds as Tout comes back in. And Jay Green back in as well. Magnuson for Jones. Corkscrews it up. Got it all the way around the rim, but out. Cone goes to Green, high out left. And there goes Cone into the paint, but a deflection and a takeaway. Once again, another loose ball, and there's Ethan Price.
Well, when Cone puts it on the floor, you better be ready for a catch or to get a pass, because he can flip it to you in the blink of an eye.
Tout lining up against Jones. Floats it over him and scores. Carson Tout, a guy that Coach Burkar has talked about so heavily, transferring from Cal Baptist, had the leg injury, was out an entire year. And an answer on the other end from Eastern Washington as Allegri scores.
Carson Tout has a very interesting skill set, I guess you'd call it. For part of the year, he led the league in assist-to-turnover ratio. He finished at 3rd, a very, very good passing big guy.
Cone with a quick shot, Tout with the offensive rebound, but missed right at the rim. Jones, the loose ball.
And that is almost a microcosm of the Lumberjacks' year there. Great offensive rebound, 1 point blank, and Tout could not make it go in.
Here's a 3 on the way from Price that's no good. The rebound is grabbed by Northern Arizona. Cone for Green, and it's blocked. Had a fantastic freshman year.
Freshman of the year, that's kind of what you call a recruiting break. If you get a couple of those every once in a while, that sure helps you be a better coach.
A golden opportunity deep in the paint for Northern Arizona, and it turns into a turnover.
As I talked about what a great passer Tout was.
Magnuson and the foul.
Tout hit Baines right in the knees with that last pass. A great cut by Magnuson there, finding that seam in the defense. I call those instinctive cuts. Those aren't the cuts that the coach draws up or it's part of a play. That's just basketball savvy there.
Ellis Magnuson, whose dad played linebacker in college football and is now a police officer here in Boise.
He is a local guy. He went to Bora High School, the same high school that Ryland Bergeson went to.
And that is where their practices and shoot-arounds have been. They've enjoyed every minute of that. Nice throwback for each of them. Cone, another bucket. He has 6.
Oh, how talented is that little guy? 5'11", 175, and just a jet.
Landeck is in for Eastern Washington. He set up the screen for Venters. And they'll go deep into the paint. Acleese with the moves and the bucket. 21-15.
If you let Acleese catch it that deep with both feet in the paint, you better bring a lunch and a lantern, because it is going to be a all-day affair, because he is really big and strong in that low block.
Northern Arizona still without a three-point bucket. They're 0 for 5. But underneath, Cone scores his 8th point of the game, and he's trying to personally will this team here in the first half.
Well, with that 8th point, Tony, he now holds the record for the single season scoring record. He needed 7 to tie, 8 to set it, and the single season scoring record now belongs to Jalen Cone.
Tout going for Heyman, had it knocked away and got it back. The Northern Arizona Lumberjacks shooting just 35% from the field here in this game. Tout trying to improve on that percentage. Double comes, can't find the cutter. Now throws across the river, and it goes to Heyman, who drives the baseline and gets the bucket.
I said, this Heyman kid has really come on here in the last few weeks. At 6'7", he's actually a 2-guard coming off a 14-point game. The last time these two teams played about a week ago, he had his season high 24.
NAU has now hit their last 3 buckets. Heyman was 0 for 4 before that make. Here's Cone with a steal. And he's going to throw it back out to Stark. Stark with a floater. No. Loose ball grabbed by Stark, and a jump ball. Possession will go to Eastern Washington.
Nice job by both Stark and Magnuson getting on the floor there.
Northern Arizona has been able to get opportunities going to the rim, Coach. As tough as Eastern Washington can be when you get there, they've at least been able to get some guards going downhill.
Well, when you boil it all down, Tony, at the end of the day, you got to make the ball go through the net. It doesn't matter how good you play defense, how good you rebound. The most important thing is shooting the ball, and we just saw a very well-coached, hard-playing Idaho State team just not be able to make baskets, and Northern Arizona has been kind of going through that all year. They play really hard. They play together. They're well-coached. But, again, you got to put the brown thing in the round thing.
Cleese did just that. He has 9 points.
I'm telling you, Cleese is a handful at 6'6", 235 and can shoot it.
Maines with the nice touch.
That's a nice move by Maines. He's mostly I call him a catch-and-shoot player. He likes to stay out around the three-point line, and you find him and he shoot it in.
What a pass from Allegri to Ethan Price. He wrapped that thing right around.
This Eastern Washington team has a lot of interchangeable parts along the perimeter with great length and size. You talked about when they got beat at Weber State a few weeks ago. I said this may be the team that no one wants to play come tournament time.
Stark with a floater, and it's short. Another opportunity going to the rim, and like you talked about, coming up empty-handed. 25-21, Eastern Washington.
And what that does, that really saps your energy, too, psychologically at the defensive end. I've talked about how many times you see a team make a couple baskets and all of a sudden the energy and enthusiasm picks up, their defense picks up. When you keep coming down and coming away empty at the offensive end, again, it just saps your strength and enthusiasm.
Ethan Price, as you've talked about, freshman of the year, joined some nice company there at Eastern Washington, including Rodney Stuckey. So Price will shoot the 2 technical free throws. The previous foul would have put Northern Arizona over the foul limit anyway, so at very least, Price would be shooting a 1-and-1.
Ethan Price, one of only 2 guys on this Eagle team that has started every game, he and Allegri. But you don't see, 2 years ago, Dylan Jones, or season before this, was freshman of the year, and we've talked about this, Tony, and only started 2 games all year. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to be freshman of the year, but you normally don't see guys get freshman of the year unless they have been a starter. Ethan Price has started all 31 games for the Eagles.
Price shot the free throws, Cleese the technicals. So indeed it was a trip to the free throw line on a shooting foul, and Eastern Washington will have possession. So a 4-point possession already at this moment. Price looking to add on, and they're going to call an offensive foul.
It's a hard technique to learn, but when you're backing down there, you've got to lead with your lower body to create contact. Anytime you lean over and lean with your shoulder just a little bit, then it's going to be an offensive foul. If you can deliver that hit with your lower body, and again, it's kind of a technique you got to learn, but that was a legitimate offensive foul there on the big freshman.
So it's now an 8-point game. Cone for the 15-footer. No good on that one. Cleese the rebound. Eastern Washington has hit 4 of their last 5. Now this loose ball collected by Northern Arizona. Here comes Cone. Cut off by Price, and now a find to Tout with the floater.
And then you got a little break there on that errant pass that bounced off the backboard into their hands, and then Cone made a nice decision of not forcing the issue. And then you gets a much-needed score there.
Here's a 3 from Landek, and that's off. Tout the rebound, up to the right side, quickly to Cone.
Landek, a good-looking freshman. He's their leading scorer off the bench for these Eagles.
That ball knocked off of Cone. And it'll go to Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington has been very active defensively and being able to create some opportunities. As that is now the 7th turnover already for Northern Arizona. And quietly in this one, Eastern Washington has 10 turnovers. Didn't feel like it up to
Boy,
this
sure
moment.
didn't. Well, they had kind of a flurry to start the game with, and then they calmed down and they just turned it over on that pass that bounced off the bankboard and gave NAU an easy basket at the other end.
Bergerson, and the foul. Rylan Bergerson from Central Arkansas, then played at BYU. From Boise, Idaho, he has found a home here at Eastern Washington. And Bergerson will go to the line for a three-point play.
When I was the head coach at University of Idaho many years ago, I recruited his dad, showed up at his dad's doorstep at midnight, the first night that you could, or first day you could make contact. So I went to his house at midnight to talk to him and his high school coach. I was such an effective recruiter, he signed about 3 days later with the University of Washington. So I guess that showing up at midnight didn't carry a whole lot of weight with the kid. Probably made him mad. He wanted to go back to bed.
Was the answer at the door an awkward one? Did they think you were selling something?
Probably. I'd actually arranged it. They knew I was coming. His dad is on the staff. His dad ended up at Boise State and had a great career there, and then played for probably at least 15 years professionally, overseas and at different levels.
Probably thought that was a weird way to sell a Kirby vacuum.
That's probably right.
Jalen Cone with his team down by 9. Behind the back dribble. Nice move in the lane, but can't get the runner.
Nice two-hand rebound by the big freshman Price. You've heard me say all good rebounders rebound with two hands.
Cleese with the left.
You cannot let that big old strong horse catch the ball 2 feet in the paint that deep next to the
Rare you get that chance.
Well, they're a very unique team, like I said. Their smallest starter is 6'6". That's Bergerson at the point. They've got a lot of length and talent on that perimeter, and a big, nice freshman of the year center. They could, as I say, go very deep into this tournament.
Cone, a mid-range bucket. He has 10. He's 5 of 9 from the field. To go with 2 rebounds as well. He's been playing with 2 fouls and playing smart. Price has it stripped and stolen. Great play by Maines. Cone to Tout. Stark now goes straight away to Cone again. Ethan Price guarding Cone way outside.
I tell you, Magnuson made a terrific defensive play then when Price was matched up against Cone to come over and help.
Stark hits the first 3 of the game for Northern Arizona. Bergerson had a chance but lost it on his way up. The lead is down to 6. Cone straight away. That would have been a big one.
That would have. That really would have got going. Stark on that three-point shot. Shooting is a cure-all, Tony. They were struggling to handle the ball to get a shot, and all of a sudden Stark jumps up and makes a three-pointer, and everyone applauds and says, well, way to go.
Yeah, that offensive possession wasn't the If Northern Arizona can get a stop here, they'll also get a possession and a chance to cut into it even more. Bergerson with the shot clock down to 5, goes outside, and the 3 is up and on the way and off the mark. Loose ball rebound is going to be grabbed by Bergerson. Bergerson, a muscle one in the lane, and the foul. That was a hard-earned bucket.
That certainly was by an awful big point guard, 6'6", 215. Ethan Price kind of stuck his hand up there in the crowd on that last rebound and knocked it out to Bergerson. So give Ethan Price a whole lot of credit for keeping that possession alive.
Bergerson now with 5. You talked about his dad, such a great player, played overseas, was drafted by the Hawks.
No, he was a
good
6'5",
basketball
really good player. I had a chance when you and I did the Eastern game at Weber State to go over and visit with him. I wasn't even sure he would even recognize me. He was very gracious. We had a great conversation. He's got 3 boys, Ryland being the oldest. He said the other 2 can play as well.
Wouldn't be surprised to see their names popping up in some of these games. Here comes Cone racing up the right side, pulls up for 3, banks it in. Some momentum. We have a wonderful game, 37-31. Eastern Washington the 6-point lead. Northern Arizona to start with possession. Green with a hard drive, a take, and the foul. What a great start to the second half on that first possession. And Jay Green, who has both parents that played in Australia, and his brother Josh played at Arizona.
Green 6'5", 205, big strong move there to the basket.
Kid from Sydney misses on the free throw though, and the loose ball rebound is chased down and out of bounds off of Eastern Washington.
Well, again, a score in the first 10 seconds of the half and a chance to get another score. It's a pretty good start by Northern Arizona.
Green now to inbound.
You know who's been quiet, Tony, since the start of the game for the Eagles is Steele Venters. He hit two 3-point shots probably in the first 5 minutes and hadn't scored since then.
Tout completes what is a 4-point play for Northern Arizona, or a 4-point possession. It's 37-35.
And just like that, it's a 2-point game.
Carson Tout, Big Sky all-academic team last year, something that this program really prides itself in, a number of guys who had those honors. Cross-court pass. Here's a Cleese for 3. No. Tout the board.
Boy, Tout doing a very, very nice job of rebound. That's his 8th rebound already.
Maines knocks down a 3, and suddenly Northern Arizona has the lead. A terrific run of now 10-0 going to the end of that first half.
Remember, I talked about earlier, NAU started this tournament last year with a win over a higher seed over Portland State, so they've been down this road before. Foul on post defense there by, I think, Nick Maines.
Well, Northern Arizona has some bounce to them. It's one thing to hit shots. It's another thing to move with some of the confidence in the execution. A good battle underneath by Maines, just trying to make sure nothing's too easy. Deep post catch. Venters the fadeaway, no good. Northern Arizona on a 10-0 run. Tout and the foul. Big Sky Conference player is majoring in information systems. Hits that. Positive things happening. It's now a 13-0 run. The Jacks are up by 4.
NAU comes out of the dressing room, scores the first 10 points of the half, and holds Eastern Washington scoreless.
Allegri working down in the post on Cone, and he left it just off the front of the rim. Here comes Cone up the floor. 13 points. He'll leave it off for Maines. Another 3, and he just missed.
Nice job by Cone recognizing who his trailer was there to get Maines that wide open shot.
Leaning in is a Cleese, and you can clearly see that Eastern Washington is trying to find that size mismatch deep in the paint and take advantage of it.
I told you, there is no BS about a Cleese's game when he catches on the low block. He is just rougher than an old cob. He just turns around and makes it go in the basket.
Heyman eventually give over to Green. Cone is going to set a screen and now take it from Tout. Tout posting up about 15 feet away, has to fade away at the horn, can't get it. Hustle play, and Tout is going to keep it with Northern Arizona.
What a great play by
effort
Tout.
By the redshirt freshman from Gilbert, Arizona.
I don't think Cone knew that shot clock was down as low as it was when he passed it to Tout, or he would have been better off taking the shot himself.
A 3 is good. Keith Heyman, two-time All-Academic Big Sky Conference player.
And that came off a flare screen. A flare screen is when a screener's backside is pointed toward the sideline. Heyman did a great job of reading that, then catching it in rhythm and knocking it down.
Venters with 6 so far today, and now give him 8. They continue to find the mismatches.
Boy, they do, and sometimes that works. Sometimes that takes you out of your flow. They got to be careful not to try to go to that well too often and get away from their overall offensive mindset.
When it comes to points in the paint, both teams with 20. Cone has 13 and misses on this, Jay. The rebound to Venters. Price has a chance to tie it.
Oh, bad transition defense by the Lumberjacks. Shame on them. They got themselves the lead, and then they gave something up. And it's not like Jalen Cone outran them. That is the big freshman of the year, Ethan Price, at 6'10", 230, which, you know, if you lined them all up and ran them from one end to the other, he'd probably come in last or next to last, but he outran the Lumberjacks that time.
Price, who, as you talked about, very fortunately ended up there at Eastern Washington as a coach. What's the biggest break you ever had in recruiting? Where you thought, well, that just landed
when I got out of coaching, probably. No, I've messed around and got lucky on some kids. MVP of the Big Sky, Jermaine Boyette, named one out of that Hammond, Gary, Indiana area.
Stark for 3. No. Tout fought.
And Tout, he has come out of the dressing room playing like a man possessed, make that 7 points in 5 rebounds in 4 minutes.
Carson Tout is taking over this game. What a tremendous move, splitting defenders, dunking, and the foul. No matter what the first 3 and 4 months of the season has been like, he made it clear, I don't want to go home today. The free throw is going to bounce around and in.
How about that? Carson Tout just having an unbelievable start of this second half.
14 points overall for Tout. He's 6 of 9. He has 11 rebounds already. Lead is back to 4. Allegri at 3. Off the front rim, Venters a tough O-board and can't get the short one, and then there's a Cleese.
Like I said, Cleese is just in that paint at 6'6", 235 with great hands, and he's got a little bit of nasty in him too, I believe. You know, you're looking to get Cone going, bring him off that single-double, a single screen on one side, a double on the other side. Bergeson doing a great job of staying right in his hip pocket.
Now Tout finds Stark in the corner. Another 3.
And Tout is rebounding, scoring, assisting, the 3rd in the league in assist-to-turnover ratio, 7th in assists. Look at this pass. Right on the money, too, right in his shooting pocket.
Tout doing a little bit of everything here.
I didn't see what happened to Heyman there, Tony. Did you?
No, I did not. He was down.
He was down.
Carson Tout, after everything he's been through, now a captain, emotional leader, best defender. And the coaches have talked so much about his great attitude, even through the losing and the difficult stretches. Bergerson, a good look. It's a 2-point game again.
And Tout tried to help down on post defense there. I'm not sure that was a great decision, but he went down to help double team the post, and as a nice inside out action by the Eagles. Eastern playing with a little more sense of urgency at the defensive end right now.
Tout is going to go to work on Price. Right into a double team and scores it.
How about Carson Tout?
He cannot be stopped here in the second half.
He's having an out-of-body experience here in the first 6 minutes of the second half.
Northern Arizona shooting 61.5% here in the second half. Maine's called for a foul on the post defense.
You know, kind of a bad post-defensive decision by Maine's there, because Price was in a place, he was a step and a half off of the block, where if he caught it, he might have had trouble scoring it anyway. And Maines ends up with his 4th foul on the bench now.
Venters has Cone in the paint. The help is coming. Out it goes now. A 3 from McLeese that's off. Price the rebound back to Bergerson. Here comes Venters. Cone cuts him off. Bergerson in the lane. And he'll try to go to the line and cut into this lead even more.
Nice job by Bergerson getting himself to the post there on that nice, you've heard me say, Tony, instinctive cut to the ball. He's just had an outstanding year. He's done just Bergerson I'm referring to. He just does a little bit of everything for this Eagles team. The biggest point guard in the league at 6'6" and 215. He's a tough matchup.
Rylan Bergerson now with 10 points in this game. You talked about how great of a basketball player his dad was. His mom, a great soccer player, and played at the University of Washington. He played 50 games with BYU and is a 2-time All-Southland Conference player. But he was there at Central Arkansas. It cuts the lead to 52-50.
It used to be, Tony, you saw a guy that went to 3 different universities, and that was kind of a head scratcher. That now has become very commonplace.
Patient offensive possession here for the Lumberjacks. A zone set up by Eastern Washington. Green rumbling left side, high off the glass. And Northern Arizona just finishing play after play.
Remember, Jay Green started this run coming out of the dressing room with that terrific finish around the rim where he took it straight down the middle.
McLeese fighting inside. Bergerson, the loose ball.
Great hands by Bergerson there, and then just brought it straight up with a little double clutch there and a completion, wanting the foul called. I think this is a 1-3-1 they're in, or it might just be a 2-3 that the point guard kind of extends as they bring it down the court. I think it's a 2-3.
Tout, the high post. He goes to Stark outside, and as he goes to drive, he steps out of bounds. Northern Arizona in the lead, Coach, but in some foul trouble today. Heyman has 4, and Maines with 4, so they're on the bench here at this moment. Earlier in the game, Cone had a quick 2. I thought it was a great decision by Coach Burkhardt to put him back out there, and interesting to see what he'll do with Heyman and Maines later on.
And Cone still just has those 2, I believe, Tony.
Yep.
He has not picked up that 3rd foul.
Bergerson finds a cutting Venters, who gets crafty in the lane to tie it.
Just a mismatch inside there for Cone. That's a tough. And with this big overall size of Eastern Washington, there's no one out there even similar to Cone in size. He's got to guard someone that's the smallest guy on the floor is 6'6", and that's Bergerson.
Green with the clock down to 5. Back to Stark for 3. Another one.
Nice little shovel pass there by Green, and Stark's one of those kids that can not only shoot it, he understands how to get to his shot.
And now Stark with the loose ball after Tout had the deflection. Cone with a crossover, lost the handle a bit. And now a soft pass coming out, loose ball.
As his first double-double of the year at 16 points and 11 rebounds, he has just been active and scoring it, passing it, rebounding it. He's having a whale of a second half.
They're the 11th ranked offense when looking at offensive efficiency. And in the second half, they're shooting 66.7% from the field and 57% from 3. Tout in the paint, out to the corner. Stark almost had his 3rd.
Nice pass by Tout. Again, a kid who has uncanny passing skills to be his size. One of the tops in the league in not only assists, but assist to turnover ratio.
Now Tout going to work on a Cleese. The fadeaway is no good. And a nice hustle rebound by Allegri. Venters Tried to tie it with that, loose ball to Cone, and now he'll start to roadrunner up the court, but the wall is set up nicely.
Nick Maines back in the game with 4 fouls for the Lumberjacks, which I think is a good decision by his coach.
Cone away from the screen, hits the 3. Cone with 16 points. He's 7 of 13 from the field. Northern Arizona up by 6.
Cone is really good off the dribble going to his left. If I was guarding him, I think I might try to send him right.
Magnuson was right on line, but just short. Another 3-point attempt on the way and good, as this time Allegri answers it. It's a 3-point game again.
An offensive rebound and around the horn to an open 3. And you've heard me say this before, the best time to shoot a 3-point shot is after an offensive rebound because the defense isn't matched up.
Cone for Tout. Now a step back 3 on the way and off by Heyman.
And the Lumberjacks have cooled down just a little bit, it seems.
Tough bucket by Bergerson.
Very, very acrobatic. Really, really good all-around players, Ryland Bergerson. Games in conference play only, he leads the league in assists and first in assist to turnover ratio, 10th in steals.
Cone pumps for 3, runs it off, and Tout nearly got a hold of an impossible rebound there, but fouled while trying to make that happen. For Tout, that's just his first.
I don't know if that was Allegri or Acleese that he went over his back, that whoever it was may have footsteps up his back because Cone climbed right up the ladder.
This is the kind of passion that you think about when you envision an elimination game and down to your last chance and wanting to survive and advance. Tout certainly playing with that tournament-like attitude. Here's Magnuson driving the base. Allegri a 3, no.
This Lumberjack team has every starter back next year. In fact, I think they have virtually their entire team back next year. They've got a chance, again, if they can kind of shore up their offense a little bit, which is a big if, and get in the weight room, a couple of them, get a chance to have a nice team. I've seen some of Shane Bukhar's practices, and he does a great job of teaching fundamentals and just good, sound, solid basketball.
Turnover here as Cone was setting up for the 3 and was standing out of bounds.
A couple times we've seen that tonight, haven't we? Guys catching on the sideline and stepping out. I don't think this court's any thinner or any narrower than the other ones we've watched this year.
Venters been through. You just want to give yourselves a chance here at the end. They'll have to do it without Maines.
Well, you kind of, convince your guys, throw caution to the wind. You've got nothing to lose here. You're the 11th seed. You've lost 7 in a row. You might as well go and just play your heart out.
Stark, his 3rd 3 of the second half. And for Eastern Washington, they've had a tough time defending the 3 in this second half.
And Carson Tout's 4th assist. He is just a terrific passer out of the paint or out of the low block.
They're going to have a foul on this drive, and I believe that is the 7th Northern Arizona foul.
Nick Maines is just having a night this second half. 16 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. I've talked about what a great passer he is for a guy that size, and he has shown all of that tonight.
Allegri on the front end of the 1-and-1. A guy who helped North Carolina Greensboro win the Southern regular season and conference championship. He was a part of the NCAA tournament team that lost to Florida State. He wants to get back to the NCAA tournament, and he splits here. It's a 3-point game.
Jalen Cone leading the new single-season scoring record holder for the Lumberjacks, penetrating and just dropping a nice, easy pass there. Eastern Washington better tighten that defense up and keep him out of the paint, or they're going to go home with broken hearts.
Northern Arizona had assisted on just 7 of their field goals up to this point. They've done it on back-to-back buckets now, and another miss right at the rim for Eastern Washington. There's been a couple of breaks that Northern Arizona has caught, as Price missed one right at the rim, and on that last play, Bergerson missed one.
And right now, all the momentum in the blue and yellow.
Cone underneath for Tout. The lead is 7.
And as I said, Eastern Washington had been trying to take advantage of Cone on a size mismatch. Now Cone's taking advantage of Eastern Washington with that great quickness. Great job with Tout playing defense with his lower body then on that catch.
Venters had a look and missed the 3. 2 for 9 from distance, Eastern Washington in the second half. And for Northern Arizona, they're 6 for 12.
And Northern Arizona has slowed the pace down to a snail's crawl right now, which if they can make baskets, really helps them.
Cone puts his team up by 9. That's the largest lead for Northern Arizona. And the 11 seed is starting to smell the
seed in the league, but there's been a lot of awfully good individual performance this year, but Jalen Cone is a player. Now right here is where he's been a little bit of a liability tonight. Steel Venters has really taken advantage of that size differential.
Another chance right at the rim missed, though.
Yes.
They've found the matchups they want. They've been able to get the ball deep.
Steel Venters is a really, really good player and going to have 3 more terrific years in the Big Sky. But he needs to put on about 15 or 20 pounds of muscle in this offseason. Not only does his strength show a little bit on plays like that, but I think physically he gets worn down toward the end of the year when he only weighs 175 pounds. It's about how much my right thigh weighs, I think.
Venters on the front end hits it. 11 of 13 from the line in this game for Eastern Washington. And this is Venters' first trip to the stripe.
But what? I don't care if he weighs 102 pounds. He has a beautiful shooting stroke. Being the jump shot snob I am from Indiana, Tony.
I still want to see those box scores. I don't know if I'm quite buying.
It was so far back they don't even have box scores.
I don't remember anybody saying, you know, in Indiana, this guy Reggie Miller really reminds me of a Joe Cravens. I just don't see it.
They kept box scores on stone tablets back that time. It's been so long ago.
Isaiah Lewis misses the 3, and a loose ball foul is going to be called against Eastern Washington, but there's Tout again winning a 50-50 ball.
Well, that was a little bit of a reach. No, I tell you what, that was a man's play there. Old Carson Tout, boy, he's 6'7", 230 pounds, and he's just having a ball this second half.
Tout spinning to the base, working inside, and lost it.
7-point game. NAU could use a stop. Eastern obviously could use a little offensive momentum here. Now they've got to be careful not to look too hard for that mismatch and stymie their offense, and they didn't, and that was pretty good ball movement and a great catch and shoot by Allegri, I'm sorry. That's
69-65, Northern Arizona to the mini 5-0 run here from Eastern Washington. The Lumberjacks, the 11th seed with Cone driving into the paint. He's fouled. This will be the 6th against Eastern Washington.
And that is just coming off a simple high ball screen there where they're just can't contain Cone. I don't know where they need to double team that, back off of it, go under it, but they need to make some kind of adjustment because he's having his way with them right now. And this is not good now. They've got big Ethan Price on Cone, and Steel Venters very alertly switches with him.
Cone, shifty, drop, but he's played against big-time players.
And that does not surprise me at all. You surround this kid with talent, with size, and he can play with anyone. He is a jet with a jump shot.
And you can tell with his confidence, he backs down to nobody. Cone. just misses on his 20th point there, so he has 19. For Eastern Washington, down by 5. They've had a tough time finding their footing a few different moments here tonight, but needing to put together their best 3.5 to advance. A back cut, and eventually to the corner. A clease, no. Loose ball rebound. A foul's going to be called against Northern Arizona.
That's a tough break because they've got to stop there with a clease missing that three-point shot. That was a nice pass by Venters on what coaches will call baseline drive, which Venters did, and then a baseline drift is what Acleese did. Boogie Acleese, averaging 16 and 7 rebounds.
The front end is good.
Venters now with 13 for the game.
Heyman now fouled out. Maines fouled out. On the other side for Eastern Washington, 4 personal fouls for Allegri. We have a 3-point game with 3.5 left to play.
Carson Tout's 18 points, Tony, is his new season high. Before that, it was 16. He has 15 rebounds. His season high there is 18.
Cone misses on the 3. The loose ball's fought for, and Lewis has it. They've won a number of those loose balls tonight.
Well, they're playing hard. As I said, there's no quit in this team, and that was a terrific rundown rebound for the Lumberjacks.
Tout drawing the foul, and a great feed to go with it. This team has shared the ball so well. They've read each other out there on the floor. You would never guess this is an 11 seed with the way they've performed.
Coming off 7 straight losses after probably their greatest win this season at Montana. A 2-point loss at Montana State, and then they haven't been able to get one over on the left-hand side of the ledger since then. They've been very close. Well, they're playing with great enthusiasm here in the second half.
Tout is 8 for 12 from the free throw line. Or rather, 8 for 12 from the field, 3 for 3 from the free throw line, and missed that one. And on the night, you mentioned it, the 15 rebounds, the leadership, the toughness. He's been the emotional leader for this team, and you can see it, that his team has followed his lead, especially in this second half. Venters, it's down to 2. Great cut.
That was a little curl off of the high post where he started almost shoulder to shoulder and just simply curled that. And Cone was trailing him, and he's going to lose that battle every time, trailing Venters, who's 6'7", into the paint. Eastern now into a little bit of a, they could be in a, no, they're straight man-to-man.
Stark back for Tout. The clock is down to 3. Cone underneath and couldn't get it to go. A scramble, 50-50 ball, and it's collected by Washington. Now out of timeouts. That was their last one to get that key possession here.
Boy, that's going to play big if this continues to be close down under a minute.
Allegri underneath for Venters, and the foul.
Eastern really taking advantage of that mismatch in size, Venters and Cone. Now, where Cone was taking advantage of that matchup at the other end to give him a lead, now Cone is having trouble staying with Venters around the basket. And Richards, obviously you don't want to foul there, but you don't want to let the guy get to his shot. If you're going to foul, make sure he can't get the shot off.
Venters now 5 for 5 from the free throw line. He has 19 points, and Eastern Washington has climbed back from 9 down moments ago to take a 1-point lead.
Burgesson doing everything he can. Smart move here by the Eagles, coming to double team Cone to make him give the ball up, and they can't run that high ball screen for him.
Jay Green to get the lead back, but misses. The loose ball's knocked out of bounds off of Eastern Washington.
Tony, let me talk about that again. I think Coach David Riley made a great adjustment there, going to that double team and making Cone give the ball up. Remember, they'd been setting that high ball screen for Cone, and boy, Cone had been conducting adult education classes coming off of that high ball screen and helping his team to a lead. So I think making him give it up there was a great subtle move.
Taking a look at that replay, they're going to see if that ruling on the floor will stand. That was close.
Big call.
It's going to have a big impact on the final moments for this in this game for sure. Let's take a look again, Coach. Tout getting a hand on it, and as they both come in there,
I think that was
it
Ferguson.
will stay with NAU.
But the possession arrow goes to Eastern Washington. Is obviously that's their advantage. Not having a timeout left is a huge disadvantage here as this game goes under 2 minutes. NAU with 2 timeouts left.
For NAU, the review giving him a chance to draw something up. Tout handing off to Cone. Northern Arizona, the 11 seed this season in the Big Sky. Cone, the step back. Can't get it. Venters the rebound.
Well, it's hard for Ferguson to stay in front of Cone. He has really used his length to kind of gap Cone a little bit, make him try to score over that 6'6" height and those relatively long arms. I thought that was a pretty good defensive possession by Ferguson.
Ferguson going into Cone, fouled, and will earn the trip to the free throw line. Eastern Washington, who's in the double bonus anyway. With just over a minute to go. Cone has had his work cut out for him defensively. They've gone right at him. They've gone right at a number of other size mismatches when they get it.
NAU has not played any zone tonight. I don't know if that is kind of, they have a zone in their defensive toolbox or not, but Eastern has really taken advantage of that size mismatch on Cone.
Ferguson, perfect from the free throw line. Now it's 6 for 6. Eastern Washington is 17 out of 19 from the stripe. That's been their best friend at times when
offense, your defense picks up because you're more enthusiastic. You got a lot more energy, and that is just exactly what happened to NAU for about the first 10 or 15 minutes of the half. Now the momentum has shifted back to Eastern Washington.
It's a 7-0 run for Eastern Washington. Northern Arizona's missed their last 7 shots, rather the last 5. Stark, a 3. He had 3 earlier in this half. Just barely missed, tying the game there. The other side. Here's Green to throw it in. Goes right to Tout. Tout is going to drive it. Loop one up, no good. Rebound chance, no good. Deep in the paint, no. Stripped and no again, as Jay Green had a chance, Tout had a chance, Lewis had a chance, and nobody could convert.
So this possession, they had a wide open 3 to tie it up. They had 3 putback attempts there, and they have had some opportunities. And look at them fight and scrap and claw down there.
What a block by Acleese on that last chance that Eastern Washington had.
And Acleese leads the team in free throw shooting at 86%. I'm telling you, this is a very, very talented young man. Second team all Big Sky. But he is a very, very good player.
13 points and 5 rebounds for Acleese out of Richmond, California. Played at San Francisco State, transferred and was a late addition. He was out a few games when they thought he hurt his foot. It was very evident when he was out. This is the guy that brings the juice, and when he came back, it was very evident his impact. He hits both, and it's a 2-possession game, no timeouts for either team. Cone heaves one, no, and a foul is going to be called against Eastern Washington. It'll be a 1-and-1 trip to the line.
Was 2 big free throws by Acleese there. I don't know if we've mentioned this or not. He's coming off his 6th double-double of the year, 27 points, 11 rebounds when they beat Portland State Saturday night over in Cheney.
And this play will be under review. We're going to take an extra look. Didn't see exactly where the foul was called. take a look to see if there was anything else. They may also be checking the clock.
Well, Cleese and Tout were kind of wrestling down there. I don't know if they're going to call a foul on one of those two or not. Those two big old bodies going at it down there.
And it was a clock issue.
Oh.
So the clock is at 16.3. I didn't see anything that made me think there could be anything else. So a 1-and-1 trip to the line for Jay Green, guy who transferred from UNLV, got his bachelor's degree in kinesiology at UNLV.
Only a 44% free throw shooter, 13 of 29.
And these are fragile. He makes the first. And he'll need the second, and if he doesn't get it, they'll need the O-board. Green got the second. It's a one-possession game. Price to Venters. Venters to Bergerson. And Northern Arizona lost a little bit of time there, too, because Cone has 4 fouls.
Well, nice press attack by Eastern Washington, getting the ball inbound and getting it then to the middle of the floor to their point guard, Bergerson.
Eastern Washington is a team 4th in free throw percentage in the Big Sky. This is a team that had a road trip due to all the different postponed games and the uniqueness of the schedule. They spent 14 days consecutively on the road. It bonded them, according to Coach Riley. The games were tough, but after that, the team started finding another level. Bergerson needs this one to make it a 2-possession game, and he just does swirl that one in.
They were gone so long on that trip, they started putting their pictures on the milk cartons up in Cheney.
Fade away from Cone is off. Tout, the putback. They'll need to foul again quickly. Tout now with 21. Long pass for Cleese. He's got it with the over-the-shoulder catch. And Stark was able to foul him right away. That was one of those that as a coach you do hold your breath, because if he airmails that, it goes out of bounds.
Yes, sir.
Not only would they have gotten the ball back, they would have had it on the baseline. But a very accurate pass. And here's a Cleese who was 2 for 2 on his last trip. He's 4 of 4 at the line so far tonight. Missed.
Leaves the door open, just a crack with 2.9 seconds left. We've seen stranger things happen in March Madness.
A guy in Cone who can move pretty quickly to give you a chance. A Cleese puts it up, scores his 20th point. And now the horn sounds. There is no sub anywhere.
Now, as good a rebounding team as Eastern is, and I told you, sometimes that enters into whether you foul up 3 or not.
This is interesting with Coach Burkar asking for a review of some sort. They may need to look at the time. Well, this is going to benefit him here. He now gets a timeout he doesn't have.
Yes.
This is fabulous coaching, by the way, to do this when he did it, if that was the case.
Well, and I'm sure Eastern Washington has made the decision. This has been gone over in practice months ago and many times. Are they going to foul here? I'm sure NAU will get it to Cone. I'd let him put it on the floor a time, maybe 2, probably just after the first one, and then fouling.
Tout to inbound, throws down the court. The catch, Lewis tries to go to Cone. It's